Welcome to my channel. Have you ever passed a dime, a tiny silver-colored coin, and not given it a second thought? It's one of the smallest coins in your pocket, often overshadowed by the quarter or the shiny new penny. But sometimes, even the most unassuming coin can carry a story of history, craftsmanship, scarcity, and value. Today, we're diving deep into the tale of one such coin, the 2006 Roosevelt dime, minted in Philadelphia, carrying the small but mighty P mint mark. And believe it or not, one of these little dimes, yes, just 10 cents, has been valued at an astonishing $97. Stick around, because this is not just a coin story. This is a journey into American history, minting mysteries, collector passion, and the thrill of finding hidden treasure in everyday change. By the end of this video, you might just start checking your spare change a little more closely. Let's go back for a moment, all the way to the end of World War II. In 1946, just a year after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the U.S. Mint introduced a brand new dime designed to honor the man who led the country through the Great Depression and the war years. Roosevelt had also been a strong advocate for the March of Dimes campaign, which helped combat polio, a disease he himself had suffered from. So, it felt fitting to place his profile on the 10-cent coin. His legacy was engraved into millions of dimes that year, and the Roosevelt dime has remained in circulation ever since. Now fast forward to 2006. On the surface, the Roosevelt dime hadn't changed much. Still the same familiar portrait, still the same size and color, still made of a copper-nickel blend instead of the 90% silver used in earlier decades. But in the world of coin collecting, 2006 brought some surprises, especially from the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint is one of the oldest and most prolific mints in the United States. Coins with the P mint mark are struck here, unless they're proof coins or special editions from San Francisco. In 2006, the Philadelphia Mint produced a whopping number of Roosevelt dimes, over 1.1 billion of them, to be precise. That's billion with a B. So how on earth can one of those common coins be worth nearly $100 today? Well, that's where things get interesting. Because while billions of coins may be produced, not all coins are created equal. Out of that massive number of dimes, a small handful stood out, not because of what they had, but because of what they were missing. These error coins, or more accurately, variety coins, slipped through the cracks of quality control, making their way into pockets, purses, piggy banks, and change jars across the country. Some of these 2006 dimes displayed unusual features: die cracks, double strikes, off-center impressions, or weak edges. And then there were the ones with exceptional sharpness and brilliant finishes, coins that may have been unintentionally released from uncirculated mint sets. But one of the most intriguing types was a coin that appeared completely normal, until it was examined under a magnifying glass. Then, suddenly, its value multiplied. Some theories suggested these coins were struck with freshly prepared dies, or that a group of uncirculated coins, perhaps even satin-finish strikes intended for collectors, accidentally found their way into everyday change. Others speculated that they may have come from a specific roll or batch, released in error by a regional bank or vending company. It's easy to think that all coins from the 2000s are basically worthless in collector terms. After all, they're new, they're common, and they're everywhere. But that's the trick. The rare ones are hiding in plain sight. So, what should you be looking for if you're hoping to find your own valuable 2006 Roosevelt dime? First, check the mint mark. The P on the front of the coin, just to the right of Roosevelt's neck, is your clue that it came from Philadelphia. Next, look at the overall condition. Is it unusually shiny or sharp for a coin that's nearly 20 years old? Does it seem untouched by time or circulation? That might be your first clue. So let's go back to that $97 coin. This particular 2006 Roosevelt dime, minted in Philadelphia, was in nearly flawless condition. The details were so sharp, it likely came from the very beginning of a die's life, when the metal strikes are at their cleanest and crispest. It had never been circulated, never tossed in a cash register or dropped on the pavement. It was, in essence, a lucky escapee from the world of mint sets. Its rarity didn't lie in a dramatic error, like a missing mint mark or a double die. Its value was in its perfection. And perfection, in a sea of billions, is worth a lot more than 10 cents. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Every coin tells a story, not just of presidents and policies, but of printing presses, production runs, quality control, and the hands it's passed through. Sometimes, the smallest coin in your pocket can carry the biggest surprise, and maybe the next time you get a dime in your change at the store, you'll take a second look. Maybe you'll tilt it to catch the light, examine the edges, search for that little P mint mark and think, could this be one of the lucky ones? Because it could be. You never know. So next time you find a 2006 Roosevelt dime, don't toss it aside. Give it a close look. It might just be a 10-cent treasure waiting to be discovered. When you think about American coins, you probably picture them as everyday objects, something you grab from your pocket, use to buy a coffee, or maybe find loose in your couch cushions. But behind those tiny metal discs lies a world of history, artistry, and sometimes, surprising value. Today, we're diving deep into one such coin, the 1980 Roosevelt dime with the mint mark P. At first glance, it might look like any other dime, but stay with me, because this little piece of history holds stories and secrets you might not expect, and by the end of this video, you'll see why collectors are so fascinated by it and why it's worth around $95 today. Let's start at the beginning, because to truly appreciate a coin, you need to understand the story behind it, the moment in time it was made, the people who designed it, and what it meant to the country when it was minted back. In 1980, the United States was navigating a complex era. The country was shaking off the economic challenges of the 70s, inflation was still a concern, and the Cold War cast its shadow over everyday life. In the world of coins, the Roosevelt dime had been a staple since 1946, created to honor one of the nation's most beloved presidents, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But why Roosevelt? Why a dime? The story goes back to Roosevelt's deep connection to the March of Dimes, a charity dedicated to fighting polio, a disease Roosevelt himself battled. The dime was chosen as the perfect tribute, a small coin that could spread awareness and symbolize hope. So, from the mid-40s onward, the Roosevelt dime became not just a piece of currency but a reminder of resilience and compassion. On the back, or reverse, you find the torch of liberty, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of peace and strength. This design speaks to the American spirit, liberty, peace, and endurance. Now, what about the mint mark? The P on the 1980 dime tells us it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most iconic coin-producing facilities in the country. Unlike some years where the Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark, by 1980, the P was regularly stamped on dimes, making it easy to identify where the coin was made. You might wonder, what makes this 1980 Roosevelt dime so special? After all, millions were minted that year, hundreds of millions in fact. What sets this coin apart, and how did it come to be valued at around $95, when most dimes you find in your change are worth just 10 cents? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Coins, especially modern ones, often don't fetch high prices unless there's something unique about them, a rare error, a special proof version, or a coin kept in pristine condition for decades. For the 1980 Roosevelt dime, the key is in its mint state and the exceptional quality of certain specimens. Most dimes you find in circulation have scratches, dings, and wear from everyday use. But some 1980 dimes were preserved immediately after minting, never entering circulation. These are called mint state coins and are highly sought after by collectors. So, how do you know if your 1980 dime is one of these valuable coins? First, look for the P mint mark on the obverse, near the date. Next, examine the coin's condition. Is it shiny, with no scratches or marks? Does the design pop, showing clear details in Roosevelt's hair and the torch's flame? The collector community also loves the 1980 dime because it represents a kind of sweet spot, modern enough that it's recognizable and meaningful, yet old enough that well-preserved specimens are harder to come by. It's like holding a small piece of 1980 American history in your hand, a snapshot of the economy, the minting technology, and the artistry of the time. Now, let's talk value. While a standard 1980 Roosevelt dime in circulated condition is worth face value, about 10 cents, one in pristine mint state with the P mint mark can be worth up to $95 or even a bit more, depending on the market and exact grade. This might seem surprising, but it's the magic of coin collecting. Condition and rarity make all the difference. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that tell a story and maintain their beauty decades after they were made. That's why you should never just toss out or overlook coins from your collection or your pocket change. You might have a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. So next time you pick up a dime, take a moment to look closely. Is it a 1980 Roosevelt dime with a P mint mark? Is it shining bright, like it just came off the press? If so, you might just be holding a coin worth much more than you think, a piece of history, art, and value all rolled into one small, silver disc. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the fascinating world of the 1980 USA Roosevelt dime P. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more stories about coins, their history, and hidden values, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you've got a coin you're curious about, drop a comment below. I'd love to help you uncover its story. Until next time, keep collecting, keep discovering, and remember, sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest stories.